Hey, it's Ben here from Strength Factory. Now, I just want to talk you through quickly a bit about my general approach to training for mountain bikers, and in fact beyond that, for training anybody who comes to see me. Now, these days I just get this impression from online and speaking to people that the quality of a training session or a workout is simply measured by how hard it is, and all the hashtag beast mode, hashtag, like smashed and all that sort of thing. And people seem to think these days that for training to be worthwhile and to make progress, that every session you need to absolutely nail yourself into the floor and be a sweaty wreck on the floor, with your shirt off or whatever, whether it's CrossFit, high intensity interval training, metabolic conditioning, WODs, all of that business. People seem to think that if they're not out nailing themselves every session, that the training isn't worthwhile. And I think that's nonsense. And I think that for pretty much everybody who walks in this door to see me at the gym, and pretty much everyone I work with online, the first thing that they need to do is to improve their aerobic fitness. Now, this is where my approach maybe isn't very glamorous, and sometimes I struggle to get people to buy into it because they think, surely this slow, steady aerobic work, this isn't hard enough to get me any fitter. And everyone else on Instagram, they're doing all this mental stuff and they're being sick in buckets and things like that. And whilst there is a place for that down the line, and there's no doubt that my athletes, amateur and pro alike, do some absolute savage training sometimes, it's all built on a base of aerobic fitness. So I want to talk to you a little bit now about the importance of your aerobic fitness, what it is, and what it's all about, and why you should buy into my approach that I use with all my clients, including on the complete MTB program, subscription program. Okay, so we're going to start here. I've drawn this, I'm not very good at drawing, it should say like Ben, age 38 underneath. A simple pyramid here. In the base of the pyramid we have aerobic fitness. What I mean by that is low intensity exercise, so a long steady ride where throughout the whole time you could maybe have a conversation while you're riding. It's that sort of level of intensity. And if you know a bit about zones, we'd be talking zone 1 and zone 2. Sitting above that, we're using your lactate system. Some people use different words for it, but I think that's the one that you'll be most familiar with, and that is around your lactate threshold, which you may have heard of. And that there is zones 3 and 4 if you're into zones, and that is where we start to go a bit anaerobic. That's where we start to feel the burn, and that's where you might be, if you were working hard on a long climb or something, this is where you'd be working, okay? Anything from a few minutes up to about an hour or so. And then finally, at the top there, ATP, so that's an energy system your body uses, adenosine triphosphate, and to put it real simple, this is really high intensity stuff like sprints and the full gas efforts up to about a minute or so, give or take. And again, if you're into zones, that would be zone 5 or 6. Now, I've displayed this as a pyramid to illustrate something, because something I hear a lot of is people saying, well, I'm a downhiller, and as a downhiller, when I sprint, I use ATP, okay? It's that sprinting ability, and then, over the course of maybe 2 to 5 minutes on a downhill track, you are working mostly in this zone here, where it's about, you've got the burn, haven't you? And the fitter, stronger riders cope with that better, maybe don't feel that as much because they're better prepared. But whilst that is all true, all of this sits on a foundation of aerobic fitness, okay? So, using the analogy of a pyramid, and assuming that all the sides stay nice and equal, if I want to improve my ability to sprint my bike, or improve my ability to do a long climb over 15 or 20 minutes, then yes, I need to work on sprints. Yes, I need to work on improving my lactate system. But what I also need to do, and that really forms the foundation of that fitness and that lets you build, is to build my aerobic fitness. And so what you can see here is, if this is your current level of fitness in black, I'm then going to improve my aerobic fitness by doing Zone 2 steady aerobic work as per the complete MTB program, as per the training plans that I write for people all across the UK and Europe and beyond. We have to build that base. And so what happens, we build the base out, so we've got a broader base of aerobic fitness through doing Zone 2 work, Zone 1 and Zone 2 work, which isn't glamorous, you just have to get it done. And then that allows the pyramid to reach a higher point. And so that means that maybe, I've made this much gains, obviously whilst working that and whilst working that. So if we just try and focus on the top of the pyramid or this part of the pyramid, you will make some progress for a while, but if the aerobic base isn't in place, then it doesn't let you build those same highs, those same peaks of performance that ultimately we should all be aspiring to, whether it's just trail riding or racing. So it's a pretty simple explanation there, but the thing you've got to remember is that even though if you do like a 2-minute effort or something like that, a 2-minute max effort, absolutely disgusting, you hit max heart rate, you're going as hard as you can, and you think, yeah, that's somewhere around this area of the pyramid, still a large proportion of the work that's getting done is aerobic work. It's not all, people say it's anaerobic exercise, but it's not 100% anaerobic unless you're doing maybe a 5-second sprint or something. And so it's super important to have that aerobic system well developed, because then the higher that aerobic system is developed, the higher it lets you take your level of performance as displayed here in the pyramid. So that's the first part. The second part here is, I guess you call it a spider diagram or something like that. It looks like a spider. So we've got aerobic fitness here, and I'm going to talk you through a number of factors about why aerobic fitness is so important for anybody really who wants to get better at sport. And this is part of your general preparation as a mountain biker. So starting at the bottom here, it's quick to recover from. So if you do an aerobic ride, whether it's half an hour or 2 hours, it's really easy to recover from. It doesn't take loads out of you. And I guarantee that 90% or more of the people watching this video and following my programs, you're working full time. You're bashing out a 9 to 5. You maybe got work or family stress and all the other stuff. Exercise is also a stress, even if it's enjoyable, even if it's a positive part of your life. And if you're just smashing yourself all the time, doing like mental WODs and lactate work and intervals every day of the week, you're not going to recover from it. Aerobic work is easy to recover from, meaning you can do it on consecutive days, and meaning that you can do it the day after or the day before a hard session, for instance. So that's a good thing. Second one, good for your cardiovascular health. Pretty straightforward. Anything good for your health is good for me. Low stress, and that relates to the first point there, is that this is going to be low stress on your body, both physically and emotionally. We've only got so much capacity for stress. Everyone these days is more stressed than ever before with social media and all that nonsense. Some low stress exercise should be and is a really positive part of a healthy lifestyle, and a really important part of a program for improving your performance. Now, good form. So when you ride aerobically, because you're not absolutely blowing out your arse, you should be able to ride with really good form. And what I mean is, on the bike, just sit in a nice upright posture. So your posture's strong, you're breathing well, your hips aren't rocking around, your head's not bobbing. Whereas when we're doing some really minging intervals and stuff, which is fine, at some point when your heart rate starts going up to like 170, 180 or whatever, your form starts to go. Their posture drops, their head starts bobbing, their back rounds, their hips go side to side. And this is the same in the gym as well. And this is the difference between most of my training, which is sets and reps, focusing on form, and other training methods of high intensity interval training, metabolic workouts and CrossFit, where you're doing 20 box jumps or whatever, and maybe the first 2 or 3 are good, and then the form is just rubbish. And what are you trying to achieve? Okay, so aerobic training and staying within yourself allows you to train with good form, which allows you to reinforce good movement patterns, and it's also great for preventing or reducing the likelihood of injury. So, related to the first one there, but slightly different, it improves when you are aerobically fit, the adaptations that happen in your body, which is really sciencey, we won't go into now, will enable you to improve your recovery between efforts. And so, if for instance in a race, you know, we're working up here, enduro, cross country, whatever it is, this is what you work in. You go hard for a bit, and then maybe, so you do a sprint or something, or a real technical section, you go hard, the heart rate boosts up. The more aerobically fit you are, the quicker you recover, the quicker your heart rate comes back down, and now you're more comfortable, your body, you know, your body position, your posture will be better, you'll be able to ride better, okay? And that's both in a race situation, but also in training. And so if you can recover better in between intervals, then guess what? The quality of those intervals you do is going to be better. And the objective of interval training is not just to absolutely ruin you and leave you in a puddle on the floor. The objective of interval training is to target a certain energy system, okay? And target it repeatedly so you improve your fitness at that level. It's not just smash, 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 oh, hashtag ruined, job done. So, related to that last one, it improves your ability, your sprint repeat and threshold, which I think we've already covered here, okay? Your sprint repeat is improved because the sprint is hopefully better and more of the sprint is aerobic, and your recovery in between sprints is also improved, okay? If you build your aerobic base, first of all, then it's going to allow a greater volume and intensity of training down the line. If you don't have that aerobic base and you try and do a really intense training program, you're going to fail. Okay? Fact, I'm really sorry. I don't care what your mate says at the gym or what Instagram says. If you go down that route, you're going to break down. You're going to get tired. You're going to just get maybe ill, or it's just going to be too hard mentally and physically, and you're going to jack it in. If you are aerobically fit first and maintaining that aerobic fitness, then actually you can tolerate a lot more training, and that enables you to take your fitness to higher levels. This is also really relevant for the racers during the season, because we're racing maybe week in and week out, stacking them all up every weekend, more stress, more fatigue, and it's that aerobic fitness that helps you recover between the races, okay? If you don't have that aerobic base, then that's the riders who are burning out through the season, and they get midway through the season, they're fried, they miss races, they get ill, and their race results plummet. This one's a little, it's relevant more for some than others. Basically, this low-level aerobic work also lends itself very well to doing some fasted riding, which I think is really valuable for people doing cross-country trail riding and enduro, who would really benefit from becoming more fat adapted, i.e. using fat as a fuel for long rides and reducing the likelihood of bonking. And it's also useful for those of you who are carrying a bit of extra body fat and need to drop a bit of weight. Now, this sort of riding aerobic riding uses fat as a fuel primarily, or at least it does when you train it to, by maybe doing some fasted riding, maybe riding on a slightly lower carb diet for that day or that period of time, okay? But that's a whole other video on its own, but it's worth knowing. And related to that, you don't get that surge in appetite. You know, if you go for a real hard trail ride with a group of friends and they're pushing the pace a bit, by the time you get to the end of the ride, you know, if you've been mostly riding in these zones here, the appetite's ridiculous, and all you can do is just stuff your face, and you really crave a lot of sugar and things like that, okay? You don't get that after these zone 2 aerobic rides, and that is a good thing. And then obviously, you know, improved endurance, which for some of you you know, that's your limiting factor. I get messages from people all the time, you know, I get cramp at 20k on my rides, you know, I can't go any further. Well, part of that, that's a big picture, you know, but part of that is improved endurance and improving your ability to go further at those low intensities. So that gives you an outline of, you know, the solid, concrete, solid reasons why developing an aerobic system should be one of your priorities. Like I said, this isn't glamorous. I'm not trying to sell you, you know, 6-week abs and stuff like that. I'm not trying to sell you anything except the concept that no matter what the internet says, okay, I'm on the internet, I appreciate, but no matter what the rest of the fucking internet's saying, building your aerobic base is going to be a game changer for every mountain biker out there, and even for the other people I coach. This is what I do with the motocross riders. This is what I'm going to do if you're going to tell me you want to do a tough mudder, if you want to climb a mountain, do the 3 peaks, you know, go for a week snowboarding. Aerobic base will, along with strength and, you know, the rest of this, that aerobic base allows you to do the rest of that work so that you can get the most out of your training and get the most out of your sport, have a wicked time, win races maybe. Okay, so yeah, hit me in the comments, let me know what you think. Am I speaking nonsense? You know, do you think you should just be smashing it up here and not wasting your time doing zone 2 work? I'd love to hear what you've got to say. And when you do commit to this, when it does work, that's when I really want to hear from you. Thanks very much.